everybody, it's Angel from Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. Yes, today is the first day of the 12 days of quilting. And I hope that you find this as fun as I do. This is going to be a blast. So for the next 12 days in a row, I will be at you with a new motif using 4 different feet to get some of these motifs done. So we're going to go through these together. I did already talk about tension, and we talked about some of the supplies for the next 12 days. So that has been in a previous video, but for every video I am going to hit, because I'm doing different things, on some of these supplies that I am using for this particular video. That way it helps you keep straight as much as it helps me keep straight. Okay, so we're going to keep straight together. So this motif I am calling, I don't know if there's a real name, I'm calling it the uneven lines. I'm going to throw a picture up here of what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about, so you have an idea of where we're going, what the end result should look like. What things you will need for this: I am using the blues painter tape because it doesn't stick to your fabric and doesn't distort anything, and it can be reused over and over. Let's be honest, got to save money so we can buy more fabric. You will need a basted quilting sandwich. I have chosen red for this video, and I'm using a Orfil 50 weight thread that is Dove Color 2600. It's like a light gray, so it should stand out plenty in this sandwich for you to see. I'm also using those quilting needles by Schmetz. It is Chrome Pro. I use them to piece, I use them to quilt, and they're 9014s. I love my 9014. What you and your machine love will be up to you, but I encourage you to at least start with this one if you're doing domestic quilting, and give it a whirl and see how it works for you. But yeah, at the time this video is being recorded, Schmetz came out that they're doing all of their needles in chrome, so there may not be a difference by the time you see this, but I do have these in my shop. So just so you know, you'll need that, and of course your walking foot, because this is a walking foot motif, very easily done with your walking foot. And I love it. I think it's so cool. There's a lot of places that you could utilize this. And machine gloves. These are awesome. They're not necessary, but they just make things easy. It makes it easier to grab your fabric and your quilting sandwich so that you have a more consistent quilting experience. So that's really it, guys. So guess what? We need to get this 12 days of quilting started. It is the first day, uneven lines. So let me pull you in and let's get this sandwich quilted. So for this purpose, I'm going to pretend like this is a rectangle block that I want to add this motif to, okay? Now, if this was inside of a quilt, you would have your seam line somewhere around here, okay? And I would really drop my needle on that seam line to get started. You know, the vertical or the horizontal line here. I would go ahead and get started inside on a seam. If it was on the outside of a quilt, I can use the batting to get started and then sew across, okay? If this was like a wall hanging or a mug rug and I wanted to use this, you know, complete motif, and I had this extra batting, I would use it to my fullest. When we go to quilt, a lot of times we start from the center out. I'm not going to say always, I'm saying a lot of times. And we do that to help push away any extra fabric or fullness that we may have towards the outside where things are a lot more flexible, and to try to prevent any puckering that may occur. So I am going to start in the center. Now I'm not going to start on a complete straight line, because and it's just a design element. You are free to do what you wish with this motif. It is totally 100% your creativity, but I felt like if I started on a straight line, it would actually make it look like 2 halves, and I think it would draw an attention that I don't want. So I am going to take my tape, because y'all know I cannot sew straight lines. I don't know many who can. So I'm going to use it as a guide, and I'm just going to start at a little bit of an angle instead of that straight line. Now for the first time, like I said, I'm going to drop my needle down. I'm going to pull up my bobbin thread so I can hide them later. And of course, I would just go to another seam, understanding this was a rectangle and a block, but I'm just going to do it the first time. There is no seam here, so I'm going to go ahead and cross into this batting before we go and make that turn. So I will get that started. Now for the first stitch, I thought it would be a great idea if I would go ahead and leave you up close on my needle. However, I don't think you need it that whole time. So I am definitely going to pull it out so you can actually watch further away, but you'll still see the stitching. Okay, so I'm going to pull this over. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's the second time I recorded this. My bobbin wouldn't come up. It happens. Not sure why. But if I was coming down on a seam, okay, we're just going to pretend that the seam is somewhere in here. Now I'm going to try and stay off of the tape. If you go on it, it's not the end of the world, but I'm going to attempt to use it as a guide, lining up along this side of my foot. And okay, with this line of that tape, it should keep it away. All right, so we're going to pretend now that there's that seam is right there. I am going to lower my presser foot with my hand wheel. Okay, and then I'm going to push the up button. I'm going to lift my presser foot. I'm holding onto my thread with my thumb here, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a yank. And what should have happened, and it did, but I can't reach it. So again, we have the lovely tweezers somewhere in here. Maybe not, maybe another day. So I'm going to take my thread snippers and I'm going to pull a little bit on that bobbin thread that's sticking up. It's a tiny one. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. Yeah, definitely. What are those things? Tweezers they work much better, and without a camera in your face, it always helps too. But we are going to lower this down again. I'm going to try and put it back into the hole. Now, if you notice, yep, there, and I'm doing the hand wheel. Okay. If you notice, I'm hanging on to my threads. They will move when you're doing that. So it's important that you hang on to them or they'll get sucked down in there and you may have some nesting going on, and that's never fun on the back of your quilt. So let me get this situated here. And all I'm going to do is stitch along this line, again, using this tape and lining it up with this side of my walking foot, okay? So here we go. Let me put some glasses on, it might help. All right, now you can go as slow or as fast as you like. I will tell you, and obviously I do have my machine gloves on. They help grip it all the time when I'm using my walking foot for any kind of quilting, stitch in a ditch, whatever it is. These things are a gem. So I'm going to go ahead and get this first line done. I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and I'm going to come off into the batting. Now, typically I would not cut threads, but I want you to see what I do with the tape. So I am going to cut threads here, but remember, I typically wouldn't. I'd either travel in the ditch on a seam to the next location after I repositioned my tape, or I would just stitch along this batting and get the tape resituated. But I want you to see, so I'm going to go ahead and cut threads. Notice I did not back stitch. Number one, it's practice. Number two, it's going to be cut anyway because it's in the batting area. All right. And I probably should have taken that a little slower because I just realized I'm using a, whoops, I got all kinds of stuff going on y'all can't see. Okay, I am using a very, very thin loft batting. Now you can do that with your domestic machine. You can actually do it on a long arm if you float your top, but it's very thin loft and it does better if you take it slow. So there is the first line. Now I'm going to go ahead and move in because what's going to happen is that my quilt will go away from my machine where the throat is really thin. If I went this direction, it would cause it to get all scrunched up under there, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put another, same piece of tape. You can reuse them over and over. I'm just trying to have a little fun with it. You can decide how far apart you want them. If you want them skinnier, if you want the angles more, if you want them less, completely up to you. I was hoping you can kind of see that. I'll make sure to take pictures at the end. But we're going to go back in here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this camera out so you can see what I'm doing. And you don't have to watch my needle. So I'll be back in just... So we have that tape on there. I'm going to go ahead and start stitching on the other side of the tape. I'm going to go ahead and lower my presser foot. Oh, I'm doing it in the batting. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Now I want to tell you guys, if you'll notice, I have this chair, and I did not have this chair for a long time, many years. I just got it this year, and it is the appropriate height, and I'm able to engage my abs and keep a little bit more relaxed. And I thought it would be hard for me to see, but I don't have any problem seeing, and I can stitch a lot longer like this, believe it or not. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut threads again so I can pull you out. I'm going to pull this off. Y'all can see that. Okay. Now that's a little more straight. It's not straight, but it's a little more straight. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it like this time. And I am stitching on this side. Okay. Now remember, I had to slow it down a little because I'm using this really thin loft. Then we just come on back. Going down in the batting. Getting that line straight for me, but it's not straight. Lower the needle. Oh, I want to go faster. I keep forgetting. Just allowing the walking foot to do its work. Now, I'll probably speed up the rest of this video because I think you're going to get the idea. And this is the same piece of tape, guys. You just keep using it until it doesn't stick anymore. Trying to decide. I think I want to do one straight this time. Or straight-ish. Look how close I'm going to get down there. Whoop, whoop. All right. Here we go. Now, from here on out, you'll see me rip the tape and move it, but I'm just going to go ahead and speed the video up until we're done, or until I go to the next half. we got the first half done. Lickety split. I'll definitely take a picture of when I get the whole thing done so you can really see it. But yeah, it's super fun. So now I'm going to flip it over because I want to stitch this direction. And we'll just go back. Now remember, these are all out in the batting. The only one I would have to bury is that first one if I were working inside of the quilt. And I would travel along your seam if you could. All right, here we go, guys. Last half. Let me see if I can do this with it on there, just so you can see how I would do it. So I would turn it. Now, by doing that, notice it goes all the way to the closer part of my machine. So if you had a bunch of quilt here and not like a small mug rug or wall hanging or such, I probably would be cutting threads just because you don't want them to get too much bulk over here, unless you're good with scrunching, because it does make it easier if you can twist your quilt, because there's only one thread to bury. There. Now I could do like a straight one over here, but I think we're good. And again, I'll get all this cleaned up. I'll take a picture, make sure you can see all this. Of course, this is the only one I'd have to bury, is that very first one. But yeah, I mean, that looks pretty darn, I love it. And you can do this anywhere inside of your quilt. It doesn't have to be, it could be in a circle. I mean, that might be really cool. If you had a circle on your quilt, that would be really cool to add a little bit different dimension on it. But how far apart you want them, how much of an angle you want them, how you want them to go, that's totally up to your creativity. But simple walking foot quilting. I'll see you guys in just a sec. Okay, before I took a picture and did the finale, I decided that I'm going to show you as a reminder, not anything great and wonderful, how I bury these threads. It's the only one is right here. I'm going to first cut it down a little bit because that was a big, long piece. Okay, so basically I just take my two, pull this up a little. Matter of fact, let me pull it up just a little more. All right, I'm just going to basically do me a square knot. Okay, and I try to keep it, there's a little bit of, you can't see it, but there's a little bit of distance right there so that my needle will have somewhere to go.
and I use a cheater needle. I think my cheater needle that I use to bury is in another quilt that I'm burying thread, so I'll have to pick a different one. Oh no, this is it. I only know it because mine's bent. So, and it's my favorite size. I don't know what size this is. It's in the cheater needles in the Clover variety pack. So I just go back in where one of the stitches come out, and you only want to go through to the batting. You do not want to go through to the back of your quilt. It's really nice if okay, I'm going to go this way and I'll tell you why. If you can go through some stitches, that works really well to help hold it also. So then you just basically put my glasses on here. All right, going back in where where one of the stitches comes out. I'm trying not to go through the back of the quilt. I'm just going to check to make sure that I didn't. And then I'm just going to use my cheater needle here, get the stitches in there, pull them through, and this is the part I really like about burying threads. I like to pull it, and then you feel a little pop. So I know that the needle or the knot has gone down in there. These snippers are wonderful because they actually curve. If you can see that, they do actually have a bend to them at the tip here, and the reason is that way you don't have to worry about cutting your fabric. Give it a little rub, and that is basically how we bury threads. And I did do a video on it where I gave a little bit more detail and a lot more closer. I actually had somebody behind the camera for me. So I'll take a picture of this. Now all this squiggly is in the batting, okay? But I love it, guys. I absolutely love it. But I'll take pictures of the front and back, and I'll be back at you in just a sec.
Okay, so that's Uneven Lines, our first day of the 12 days of quilting. I had to think about it. Okay, so Uneven Lines. If you know what the real motif name is, if there is one, let me know. Drop them in the comments below. And speaking of that, every day for the next 12 days, I will be at you with a new motif. But also every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I will be on Facebook Live for what we call live quilting and answers, live Q&A. You get it, right? At that point, you can ask any questions, you can make comments, we can chit chat. Sometimes they last 30 minutes, sometimes they last an hour. It just really depends on how much fun we're really having. But it's an awesome time that we can get together to do some live Q&A. Now I'm thinking in the future I'm going to do a YouTube live. I'm just trying to work out how this all works, and we will see how that happens. But in the meantime, I hope you'll come out if you are a Facebooker and join us for a 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But yeah, this was the first one. We've got 12 more days, guys. I will be at you here tomorrow with a new motif. Now, speaking of that, that also means I am not going to do walking foot for a period of time and then switch feet, do another one, same one. I'm going to mix and match it. So that way we don't get bored. I don't think I can get bored. I love quilting. I hope you're having fun. I'm hoping that you find some inspiration, even if it's not necessarily something you would do. Sometimes it sparks your creative mind to flow, and that's what that's the whole point, is helping you be inspired, and at the same time, you know, giving you some new motifs that you can do for your quilting. Now I will say I am doing all this on a domestic machine. If I figure a way that it might be really good to work on a long arm, this you could do in a long arm. And when you're talking about doing them in circles, which is my favorite thought, or triangles or diamonds or squares or rectangles across an entire mug rug. But if you have it loaded on your long arm and you're not good at straight lines like most of us aren't, you can use a ruler to do the same effect. So it's definitely versatile on a quilt,
versatile between the two machines. So yeah, I hope you love it as much as I do. And I hope to see you today at 3 p.m. on Facebook. But if not, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them down below, or any comments, or send an email. Whatever floats your fancy, I'm here for you in any way possible. It's up to you how you'd like to communicate. But that's what we're here for. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, whatever it is, we love hearing from each and every one of you. So tomorrow, I'm going to be here tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow. 12 days. We got 12 days of quilting. I mean, how super exciting is this? So we're going to do 12 days of quilting. I will be at here tomorrow with you, and every day on Facebook Live at 3 p.m. following that video. So hope to see you soon. But until next time, may y'all continue to be inspired, productive, and joyful. And know that we believe in you and every single thing that you guys, the Halo Quilting Cherubs, y'all are awesome. You are spreading beauty and joy through this world. And we believe in that, and we appreciate it. And never stop making your dreams in quilting come true. I love y'all. I'll see y'all very soon. Happy quilting.